What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're standing over a 1/16 of an acre of a food plot, and roughly we're probably almost about knee high with this winter wheat in this food plot. And when this stuff perked up, it was only it was laying flat throughout the winter. We had some warm days in end of February, beginning of March. It kind of got warmer than normal, and it stood straight up and it perked up about 3 inches tall. Deer were hammering it, which I talk about this all the time, when you plant in the fall, such as grains, winter wheat, rye, whatever it is, you fill that void of no food throughout the winter, especially on properties that are lacking natural browse, especially woody browse, because November, December, January, all the green foliage is dead. So you have woody browse that takes over, the deer consume. And then you have supplemental, food plots that you can use, such as brassicas and things like that. But even, when you have a small area of brassicas, they can be wiped out very quickly. So then you're left with nothing. So we like planting the winter wheat. And when you plant that, say in September, it gives you food September, October, November, December. January, it kind of fades out a little bit, but then you lose, depending on what part of the country you're in, you lose maybe a month or something. But it's the very first thing that perks back up in the spring, way before clover, way before natural browse, way before anything else is green in the woods. So you provide an extra, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 months of food. For us here, it's roughly about 8 to 10 weeks of extra food throughout that winter time leading up to spring, green up, which now the deer are not eating it anymore. It's 2.5, 3 feet tall in some areas. Way out in front of me, we have 3 acres of winter wheat, and this little 1/16 of an acre kill plot, hunting plot, whatever you want to call it, is about 75 yards away from the big field. It's off this side. There's actually this hill here actually drops down a little bit, and there's a bedding area back there. They kind of funnel out of there. They cross through this plot out into the bigger food plot. But I had a question come in. The purpose of this video is they planted winter wheat and the deer were hitting it hard throughout the early, spring, but now they're not hitting it anymore. Well, it's no big deal because they're not eating it here either. And the reason being is when you have young, tender plants, they're very palatable, they're very tender to the deer, and the deer consume them. When the winter wheat matures, it starts getting 1 foot, 2, 3 feet tall, it's not palatable anymore to the deer, so they stop eating it. Which by that time, it's not a huge deal because you start seeing there's natural browse starting to grow on the trees. So you fill that void of not having food throughout the winter, to having the winter wheat and everything green up. The deer consume that, you feed the deer. This stuff starts to fade out with palatability wise. By that time, the green foliage is coming back on the trees, natural browse. It's not full 100% yet where I'm at here in Pennsylvania, central PA, but you can see the green coming out. The leaves are pretty small, but they're about 1 inch or so. There's some honeysuckle, there's some greenbriers, there's all kinds of different things coming in. So now the deer have lots of food. They don't need the winter wheat. So what this is doing now is acting as a cover crop for the soil. It did all winter long and is doing it now. And what our process with this is going to be, I had another question come in. They said, what are you going to do with your winter wheat fields? Well, so this is about 2, 3 feet tall in some areas, all the way on the other side as well. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to let it go. We're going to wait until either next weekend or the next weekend after that, 1 to 2 weeks. We're going to come in and mow this, and we're going to mow it, and we're just going to let it sit. The following weekend, I think it's going to be roughly either the June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere around there. We're going to plant our spring, summer food plots. So we're going to mow this the week prior, let it die off so it's nice and low to the ground. We're going to mow it very, very low. We're going to come back in here with the discs on the Furminator, and we're going to disc all these fields. We're going to disc this, and we're going to disc the 3 acres over there, and we're planting buckwheat and maybe some sunflowers. And we're just going to, you know, plant this side, and we actually have a kill plot down in the woods. We explained to you guys what we're going to do with that later on in the year. But for now, we're going to disc that up in about 3 weeks. We have a tractor that we're going to get in here with the ferminator, disc all this green manure up back into the soil, and we're going to plant buckwheat and sunflowers. So that's the process when you plant this stuff in the fall. This is the kind of, you know, reactions that you'll see. The deer will hit it all fall, all winter, might miss a, you know, 3-4 weeks or something. It'll green back up. Deer hammer it very hard. I mean, there was dozens of deer in here between these 2 food plots throughout, you know, for the past 2-3 months, hammering this stuff. Now it's past that stage of palatability. Deer lose interest in it. There's plenty of other food that the deer consume. And now this main purpose is protecting the soil, improving the soil, you know, preventing weed growth. There's no weeds in here. A couple, you know, I see a few in there. There's a little bit of clover coming back up. But this is the process with this. It's the best case scenario to not only feed deer throughout the winter, but also improve your soil. And any questions, post them down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you aren't yet. And I'll see you on the next video, guys. Later.